Sailor Moon is often considered a series that truly redefined Mahou Shoujo into what we view the trope as today. The manga ran for 6 years, from 1991 to 1997, with a 5-season anime series adapting the story alongside the manga. Most people are aware of the anime, in particular the somewhat infamous North American dub by Dick, which began broadcasting in 1995. However, I'm not American, so I want to highlight the dub that I grew up with. This is Panyud's 1996 Swedish dub of Sailor Moon. Let's begin with a basic history lesson. Anime with Swedish dubs have a rich history that truly took off in the 80s with the advent of VHS. Series like Silverfang, Space Adventure Cobra, Star Singer and Sandy Bell only make up a microcosm of how much was cranked out in cassettes across the country at the time. Quality-wise, Swedish dubs ranged from decent.
Jag tror att regnbågen är orsaken till att vårt skepp inte kan flyga.
Regnbågen?
To irrefutably terrible.
De flesta använder bara 30% av sin styrka. Hemligheten med de stora björnens dödsnäve är att samla ihop de andra 70.
Until 1996, the year that Pangyud put together the, at the time, largest dub cast for a TV project. The project was Sailor Moon, one of the most beloved Swedish dubs of anime to have ever been made.
Så där en 14 år och rätt söt. Men om hon ramlar på sin lilla rumpa, du kan vara säker på att hon kött. Men så en dag hon möter mystiken i universums iskalla natt. Hon blir en kämpe, ja en hjältinna, och får till vän en underbar katt.
Anneli Berg voiced the lead role and also sang the opening and ending theme songs. To date, she's still active, voicing Jessie in the Swedish dub of Pokemon. While most dubs of the era was fond of changing and westernizing character names, the Swedish dub of Sailor Moon was fairly restrained on that front. Family names were kept, while a few given names were altered, keeping the cast as Japanese within Japan. Tsukino Usagi, who was renamed Serena in the American dub, was given the name Annie, while her friend Osaka Naru, who in turn became Molly Baker in America, was renamed Lina.
Hej Annie, hur gick det på provet?
Umino, ser du inte att hon är nere? Det betyder att hon sprack igen på provet. Förlåt, jag menar inget illa.
Var inte ledsen, du är inte ensam. Jag pluggade inte heller speciellt hårt innan. Jag klarade inte 100 rätt, jag fick bara 95. De där proven är som ett lotteri.
Vilken jobbig kille.
Out of the Sailor Senshi, only one more had her name changed. Aino Minako, Sailor Venus, was given the name Ariane. On the villain's side, things got more interesting. A misunderstanding in the first episode script accidentally gave Queen Beryl the name of the monster of the week, Morga, which would remain for the rest of the series.
Dårarnas energi absorberas. Drottning Morga kommer säkert att bli mycket nöjd.
Her generals were meant to keep their original Japanese names, but some of them were struck by awkward romanization, seemingly because the translators didn't understand that their Japanese names were English names of gemstones. This resulted in Kunsait's name becoming Kunta.
Kunta!
Sådär, nu har vi alla regnbågskristallerna.
But one of my favorite changes was the name of Shibuya, who for some reason had her name shortened to simply Shibuya, making it a more appropriate Japanese name than the original.
Nu ska jag träna. Shibuya, nej! Vad läskigt.
Mamoru's alter ego, Tuxedo Kame, was given a completely reworked name as Den Maskerade Rosen, meaning the masked rose, to fit his iconic entrance.
Jag är den maskerade rosen. Nu får du ta och rycka upp dig, Sailor Moon. Det hjälper inte att gråta nu.
Various spells, items and attacks the Sailor Senshi would utilize were mostly simplified and sometimes inconsistent from episode to episode. Though a surprising fact, especially for use to American cartoons, is the fact that the Swedish dub of Sailor Moon aired uncensored. Death scenes, blood and violence was not cut down despite the fact that it aired on public television in the morning. This was fairly common for anime localizations at the time, such as the Swedish release of Macross Do You Remember Love remaining uncut while the American version did not. With that said, there was one element of the series that did end up censored. You guessed it, it's homosexuality. The relationship between Zoisite and Kunsite, or Kunta if you will, was technically kept intact in the localized script, but Zoisite was changed from an effeminate man to a woman. Supposedly this change was not intentional censorship, but rather a misunderstanding of Zoisite's androgynous appearance and feminine voice in the Japanese source material. Whether you believe that story or not is up to you, but I'm sure you're wondering, what about Haruka and Michiru, the most famous lesbians in anime, tragically reduced to cousins in the American dub? How did the Swedish dub tackle them in comparison to Zoisite and Kunsite? Well, the sad thing is that they didn't tackle them at all. While Sailor Moon was popular, TV4, who had licensed the series, did not renew it following the second season. They kept the first 2 seasons airing, but sadly no more ever came from the Swedish dub. TV4's Ingrid Arai, who was in charge of licensing the series at the time, stated in 2016 that the reason they didn't get the rest of the series was due to licensing problems between them and the Japanese distributor, Toei. A few episodes of the Swedish dub made its way onto VHS, but these cassettes were rare even in the 90s and are practically impossible to find these days. While the existing dub was picked up for broadcasting again in the early 2000s on Kanal 5, there was never an official DVD release, and today all the remains are what fans themselves recorded and archived. This is sadly the fate of most Swedish anime dubs. With the advent of international releases on DVD and Blu-ray, most distributors weren't interested in buying the old Swedish dubs of a series most would either watch in Japanese or English. As such, a lot of these dubs are forever lost to time. I hope you found this little look at Sweden's favorite anime dub interesting. Who knows, maybe I will tell you about some other Swedish dub at another time. There's plenty to pick from after all. If you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, support me on Patreon and follow me on Twitter. Until next time, take it away, Anna Liberg.
Sailor Moon, min vän, ödet är dolt, går det att se vad som väntar dig, står i stjärnorna. Ibland kan verkligheten vara rätt jobbig och tung. För en 14-årig tjej, hon är ju så ung. Då kan drömmen om evig kärlek, dold bakom månen i stjärnornas sken, ge lite tröst och mod i hjärtat. Tänk om man finns, kärlekens kung. Ute i månens sken, där finns det hopp, där finns det ro. Men på kärleken törs du inte tro. Sailor Moon, min vän, ödet är dolt, går det att se vad som väntar dig, står i stjärnorna.
I really wanted to have all my Sailor Moon merchandise for this video, but I don't have them in this apartment, so I only have this little Sailor Venus, which is literally the only piece of Sailor Moon merchandise I have. I guess I should call her Ariane, since it's the Swedish name for her.